What's up, y'all? MUDIWA MUGABE, Planet Los Angeles. I just want to drop a little something on y'all, man. Sunday school. My style. I've been looking around, man, and I'm going to cut straight to the chase. I'm starting to believe that pain is pleasure for a lot of y'all. Some of the things that you do reinforce this concept. And when I say pain is pleasure, I mean some of you are really gluttons for punishment. And what is pain is pleasure? There's a definition for that. The definition of pain is pleasure is being a masochist. And a lot of you are undercover masochists. And you don't even realize it. What is a masochist? And for those that don't know, let's go to the definition of masochist. This is dictionary.com. Let's see. Dictionary.com describes masochism as such. Number 1, psychiatry. The condition in which sexual gratification depends on suffering physical pain or humiliation. Now, we're not talking about masochism in the sexual aspect. We're talking about masochism in the intellectual aspect, in an intellectual context and in a social context. Someone that enjoys, that gets pleasure from pain in a social context, in an intellectual context, not in a sexual context. Now let's look at the second definition of masochism. It says gratification gained from pain, deprivation, degradation, etc., inflicted or imposed on oneself, either as a result of one's own actions or the actions of others, especially the tendency to seek this form of gratification. This is what masochism is. Masochism is deriving pleasure from pain. So when you do things that you know have a bad ending, but you know you do it anyway, you're practicing a form of masochism. Now, how does that relate to the condition of our people? If you know that a certain group of people don't like you, why are you still trying to force your way into their paradigm? If you know a certain group of people don't like you, why are you trying to force yourself into their communities? If you know a certain group of people don't like you, why are you trying to force your way into their schools? If you know a certain group of people don't like you, why are you trying to force your way into their jobs? If you know a certain group of people don't like you, why are you trying to force your way into anything that they have available? Because what? You're a masochist. That's why. You derive pleasure from pain. You're not in it for change. You're in it to say you were in it for the pain of it. It's a sickness, you guys. It's a sickness. It became so serious, this thing we call masochism, it became so serious that they were thinking about introducing it into the DSM, not in just the context of black people, but in the context of people in general. For those of you that don't know what the DSM is, it's the Bible of psychiatry. All of your mental health diagnoses and disorders are put into this book. And this book is basically the Bible of psychiatry. And they tried to introduce something called masochistic personality disorder. And it's been nearly 20 years, it's been nearly 30 years since they tried to introduce masochistic personality disorder into the DSM, because it's real. It's a real condition that people really suffer. Now let's see what they say that the definition, the DSM definition, or the proposed DSM definition of this disorder is. It was labeled as self-defeating personality disorder, also known as masochistic personality disorder. It is a proposed personality disorder. It was discussed to be in the 3rd edition of the DSM back in 1987, but was never formally admitted. It goes on to say here, this was the proposed definition of the diagnosis. Let me say that again. This was the proposed definition of the diagnosis of masochistic personality disorder. Now tell me if this describes some of the things that black people do. Watch this. A pervasive pattern of self-defeating behavior beginning by early childhood and present in a variety of contexts. The person may often avoid or undermine pleasurable experiences by be drawn to situations or relationships in which they will suffer. Let me say that again. Be drawn to situations and relationships in which they will suffer and prevent others from helping them, as indicated by at least 5 of the following. Number 1, chooses people and situations that lead to disappointment, failure, or mistreatment, even when better options are clearly available. Sound familiar? Chooses people and situations that lead to disappointment, failure, and mistreatment, even when other options are clearly available. So when you go work for non-black people, you know that it's racism there. When you send your kid to a non-black school, you know that your child is going to have to deal with straight up and down overt racism, and you're not going to be there to protect your child. But you're choosing to put yourself and your children in these situations. This is the textbook definition of what masochistic personality disorder is. This isn't my definition. This is the definition of the professionals. Let's see what the second one says. Rejects and renders ineffective the attempt of others to help them. Oh, I'm cool. I don't need no help. I got it. You sure? No, I know what I'm doing. We gonna be all right. You understand what I'm saying? It goes deeper than just liking and disliking people. It goes deeper than just trying to form equality. There is no equality when you're subservient to another person. Period. Get it out your mind. There is no equality from a subservient position. I'm not subservient to my boss. Period. I'm not equal to my boss. I'm subservient to my boss. I'm not equal to my landlord. I'm subservient to my landlord. You understand what I'm saying? What we have to do is we have to condition our mind to stop putting ourselves in situations that will lead to disappointment, failure, and mistreatment. Do you follow me so far? Now, this subject, I'm going to give you another example. A lot of times we get people that come across bundles of money. You know, it might be an inheritance, it might be a settlement, whatever the case may be. Hypothetically, you get $50,000. You spend $15,000 random. You give $10,000 away to friends and family, and you spend another $25,000 on a car. Now you're broke. You just self-defeated yourself. You defeated yourself. Your actions were showing that you want to remain in the situation that you're in. You want to be able to complain about the situation you're in because you had the financial opportunity to change a part of your circumstance, and you chose to squander it. Masochistic personality disorder. Let's look at a couple other qualifying diagnoses. Fails to accomplish tasks crucial to their personal objectives despite having demonstrated ability to do so. For example, help a fellow student write a paper but unable to write their own paper. Engages in excessive self-sacrifice that is unsolicited by the intended recipient of the sacrifice. Let me say that one again. Engages in excessive self-sacrifice that is unsolicited by the intended recipient of the sacrifice. When you go out there running up to other people's causes and you want to be on the front line of other people's causes that have nothing to do with your causes, but you're not standing up for your own causes. Let me say that again. running to the front line of other people's causes, and you have nothing to say about your own causes that are affecting you and your people, you are engaging in behavior that leads to this personality disorder. This is really simple, man. I'm gonna leave it short right here because I don't want to go into too much of the information. If you like this subject and you want to hear more, I've got a collection of information on this subject. I don't call myself a professional. You know, I'm not a mental health professional. I'm just a student of life. I'm a keen observer of my surroundings, and I see things and I do the research to see how does that correlate in the professional world. And I got a good collection of information regarding this subject. The psychological conditioning that needs to occur before we can actually get out of the situation that we're in. Because until we change our mind, we're not going to change our circumstance. Let me say that again. Until we change our mind, we're not going to change our circumstances. What we think becomes how we behave. How we behave becomes the reality. That's very much true. So if we have a subservient mentality, we're going to have subservient behavior. If we have masochistic mentality, we're going to put ourselves in masochistic situations. Do you understand what I'm saying, how this works? This is very simple, people. Now, on the flip side of that, there are some people that are sadistic. And we'll talk about the sadistic ones. I'm pretty sure you can kind of get an idea where that's going. We'll talk about the sadistic element of the human family at a later date. But again, if you're interested in this topic and you want to hear more about it, leave me a comment and I'll see if I can maybe put it on a different platform so I can expand it instead of this little quick little 10-15 minute video. Anyway, Mudiwa, is pain pleasure to you? In God you trust, but in pain you lust? Is that you? All right. Enjoy your day. Mudiwa to God, Planet Los Angeles. I'm out.